You just want to keep practicing Agile, but this marketplace is making it harder and harder to find opportunities. I just released 2 new courses that will help you. The first one is the Forge Lightning, a 12-week version of my classic Forge program that will make you the kind of Agile leader that can thrive and prosper no matter what the market is doing. The second one is a brand new offering called the Forge Genesis, which is all about how to create a profitable business around your Agile skill and all the tools that you'll need to validate, promote, and grow it. Check them out at learning.fusechamber.com. New cohort starting in January. Yeah, we need to measure what we measure. I mean, you can't tell if you're helping your development organization help the business unless you measure the traditional Agile stuff. But the business doesn't value those things alone. The next level is to demonstrate impact on real business measures. That's this week on the Badass Agile podcast.
Greetings, team. Welcome to the Badass Agile podcast. I'm your host, Chris Williams.
Hey friend, grab a chair. Thank you for having a listen yet again. Hope you're having a good January. I'm so pumped up from our last episode about the 18th State of Agile report, especially the part where it informs what we do next. We love data. We're supposed to love data. And the data is clear that even after all this debate about the future of Scrum and agility, we still insist on measuring things that we want to be measured on. The problem is that unless you pay for your team, your unit, your practice, that doesn't answer all the right questions, especially in times where spending and efficiency is under scrutiny. So what do? Well, before we dig into it, let's take a moment to remember why we're here. To create an elite tribe of leaders who truly serve their clients and communities by doing what matters and what works, relentlessly chasing value and excellence like a badass. There's so many resources out there about what we need to do to be agile, but we focus on who we need to become in order to lead teams. So let's hammer down those fundamentals to create a truly unique and powerful force in this industry, as we discussed last episode. In times where spending and efficiency is under scrutiny, we spoke about one of the clear findings in the 18th State of Agile report that 76% of Agile organizations face increased scrutiny and pressure to prove ROI. It is now about the outcomes, not your outputs. I saw a resource somewhere, had a great little saying. Outcomes are the new currency. You got it? If you can't talk and broker outcomes for people, I think your Agile skills and your practice are far less useful than they were even 5 years ago. And yet when we hear that as an industry, as a group, we focus on the metrics that are of little concern to the business. It's not as simple as shifting from features completed to cycle time. It's not about shifting focus from empathy or team happiness to the visibility of your pipeline to the business. It's about tying what we do to metrics that matter to the entire business. The State of Agile report was clear. If you want to succeed in the future, you need to be able to tie the work we do, execution, to the measurable strategies. Things like OKRs, measurable business results, whatever your company happens to call them. These are the things that they tell shareholders about. This is how they measure their success as a business. And they rarely have anything to do with how quickly you can deliver a feature to the market or how many sprints you've completed. This is a new paradigm. It's a new way of thinking. And don't forget, give yourself a little grace here. Most of us came up through the technology environment. We started as developers or engineers of some kind and ended up getting stuck with this Agile thing. And some of us stuck around long enough to become leaders, Scrum Masters, Agile coaches somehow. We were never trained to talk business. I get it. So this might be a bit of a head scratcher. So if you're having trouble figuring this out, I just released a product called the Business Outcomes Partner Playbook. It's $17. It'll help you shift from the Agile coaching traditions of the past to something that's based on the clear value that the market is demanding right now. In it, I'll show you how to figure out the metrics that matter to your company and how to help figure out experiments that will move those metrics. And then finally, how to position yourself so you can get the leadership, attention, and support that you need to modernize your Agile practice and ensure your career survival. Let's stop the layoffs. Let's stop the Agile is dead conversations. The link's in the show notes below. I think right now there's two ways forward in the future of Agile. One is to become entrepreneurial. Take your wisdom and your experience and learn how to sell it to organizations or practitioners. I think corporate work is dying. It's a race to the bottom on roles. It's a race to the bottom on rates. And nobody in that universe cares if it takes you 2 years to get a new job. So you're already at risk. So option one, why not refocus your risk on something that has infinite upside potential for you? Serve small organizations, solve business problems for non-tech organizations or departments, or niche down on Agile skills that most teams struggle with. The other option is what we're talking about today. Pivot to real business value. Think of it this way. Imagine you're thinking of buying a vacuum cleaner, and I make vacuum cleaners. They're the most expensive vacuum cleaners you can buy. You ask me why my vacuum costs me so much more money. I tell you about how I've automated quality testing. I can run a full suite of tests in under an hour. Oh, I can test the motor at speed and under load. I can test the little logic boards that shut the motor off if the head stops rotating. I can test what happens if the vacuum cleaners drop from a height of 4 feet. I do all of these things in under 1 hour. Wonderful. But what's that got to do with the person buying the vacuum cleaner? This vacuum is $1,200, $2,000. I can get one for $100 at Target. So what will this do for me? Where does all that extra money go? Oh, well, our team reports a happiness index of 8.2. The mean time to repair defects is 21 minutes, and the time from business request to implemented feature is less than 3 weeks. Do you see what's happening there? I can't sell that to customers. I could try selling it to shareholders, but I'm going to have to be one hell of a dancer to keep them nodding in agreement when I'm not really answering their question. The question of so what? How will that make earnings per share go up or stay constant? Because in the stock market particularly, rebuilding years or stepping back to take stock or reinvest in R&D so we can steer the company in a better direction, those things aren't popular. We need to be able to demonstrate continuous positive growth, which is why I think honestly that Agile shouldn't be scaled to large organizations at all. They're the best buyers of Agile services, no question, but scaling comes at such massive cost because you have to scale to the lowest common denominator, which means you have to load your practice up with so much rigor, so much procedure to make sure that anybody can parachute in and do the job without extensive training or risk. Risk meaning we don't do something stupid. Risk meaning if I leave the company, I don't take all of my knowledge with me and topple the practice. Well, the cost of standardizing those kinds of things across an entire org is really, really high. You're adding overhead that never gets absorbed by the benefits of being Agile. If anything, it slows the Agile machine down, having all that process. Those of you who have had bad experiences with SAFe or other scaling frameworks know exactly what I'm talking about. To be honest, it's really hard to perform in a big corporate setting with minimum planning and minimum documentation. The core tenets of agility are hard to do at scale. Without those kinds of tools or governance, you're basically running unsupervised, which feels like a giant risk. It feels like you're a rebel, renegade organization running inside a black box. So when we try to create structures to help introduce predictability, control, we erode the benefit of being Agile in the first place. After 25 years, it ain't getting better, so I feel like there might be a fundamental mismatch between Agile and very large organizations. There are some exceptions. There are some people who are doing it reportedly very well, but those stories are getting fewer and fewer. Instead, I believe that one of the massive benefits of Agile is its ability to level the playing field, to enable smaller companies to compete with bigger ones, to disrupt by leveraging size for speed. Because you're smaller, you can afford to go faster. Less complexity, less regulation, less risk. In that light, Agile becomes the great equalizer. It compensates for the capital that you don't have, which is, the number of investors who put money into your company, the customer base you have access to, the marketing budgets or any budgets, personnel budgets that you have access to, by not having to deal with the problem of bigness in the first place. You don't need to adjust for scale because you don't have scale. But once you reach scale, and that could be as little as a few hundred employees, things get harder in our world. And that's when Agile gets shifted into a process management tool, which is why we see so many hybrid roles now called Agile Delivery Manager, Agile Project Manager. We're just trying to squeeze the most efficiency out of a complex, dependency-laden, often regulated environment. So the fit isn't always there. For some reason, this eludes almost everybody. You'll hear people complain for sure about the frustrations of being treated like a feature factory, poor communications between leadership and teams, strategy and execution, working in agile ways with non-agile people and non-agile processes. But the data on this is clear. If you switch to focusing on business value, we have a shot. If we help companies get more of what they want and less of what they don't, then Agile becomes fully relevant again. And the things that businesses want, especially at the leadership level, have nothing to do with DevOps. DevOps is how we provide value by creating more predictability, maybe more scalability or visibility into the development engine. But remember, that's all on the expense side of the ledger to a business. It's not clear how this will save them a significant amount of money. It's not clear how this would ever generate more revenue for them, if at all. And if there is a link between the two, we're terrible at showing it. So there's two skills that you need here. One is to understand what real value is to a business. What are the real business metrics that you can link to your Agile efforts that represent strategic priorities so that you can deliver things that the business will continue to pay for? Here's the secret. Businesses don't stop paying for things that make them money or save them money. But if that value isn't clear, isn't significant, then they will stop paying for it. So part one, you need to understand how to focus on real business value. I guarantee you we're not doing that today. The other thing is to become that value storyteller so that you can connect leaders and teams to actually prioritize and do the work that matters. Right now, I feel like Agile people are still on the other side of the garden wall, where requirements or feature requests or bugs get thrown over the wall. We take them into our skunkworks, we go execute something, and we give it back to them. But the data's clear. The metrics show that for the most part, nobody understands the value that we offer, which means we're doing a really great job, an efficient job of building the wrong thing. But we keep that up and Agile will most certainly be dead in no time flat. But if you can get the attention of business leaders and Agile leaders, hold their hands and walk them into the same room and make this shift happen, the shift to value, the shift to measurable business value, then I assure you the ROI will become much clearer. And the last thing that we need to do, I think, is be able to take these stories back to the industry so we can stop focusing on the gobbledygook that we're selling out there. I saw a thing today, and I read about someone talking about constellation maps or something to help improve team dynamics. We need to get our heads out of our asses because we sound like witch doctors. We sound like snake oil salesmen. We're peddling things that the business is not interested in paying for. You might say that's not fair, that's not humane, but it is what it is. If you like playing golf, you better be okay with wearing the stupid hat. This requires a level of leadership that we don't often see in our practice. It's no longer enough to focus on what they teach in Agile certifications and Agile books and communities all over the place. The discussion has to reach outside the team room and deep into the veins of the business. That requires leadership, confidence, storytelling skills, negotiation skills, grit, resilience, anti-fragility that most Agile leaders I meet don't have. You want help with that? I've got resources for you. You can go to learning.fusechamber.com or you can contact me directly at contact@badassagile.com. The future of Agile isn't coming to your doorstep like an Amazon delivery, neat and fast. You're going to have to go claim it. And the data is crystal clear. The world is waiting for you to figure out how to think like the person buying the vacuum cleaner, not the person building it. Don't build features, build value. Outcomes, not outputs. Look, don't ask for Agile to be safe. It wasn't designed to give certainty through rules and standard operating procedures. It's time to do different, my friend. You can reach out, as always, in the coordinates down in the show notes below. Thank you for being a listener. I look forward to seeing you next time, and until then, stay badass.